Hello and welcome to the Amherst Weekly Report. I'm Tyler Beraldi. The University of Massachusetts Amherst may not be renowned for its social justice efforts as an institution, but UMass community members are finding ways to increase activism individually. Field correspondent Celine Bonafani brings us on campus to a professor whose work focuses on issues of language, identity construction, immigration, and mass incarceration.
I'm here at UMass at the Integrative Learning Center, where Razvan Sibi is a professor of journalism. He was a full-time reporter in his native Romania before becoming a professor and a columnist at the Daily Hampshire Gazette. His work focuses on immigration and mass incarceration in America.
I write a monthly column in the Daily Hampshire Gazette about immigration and incarceration. That's a reported column where I use research, but also interviews that I do with people. I also teach on and off incarcerated men and women. At UMass, I teach lots of courses devoted to immigration and or incarceration, honors courses and journalism courses for UMass students. And I also work as a consultant of sorts with the Prison Journalism Project, which is an organization, a nonprofit organization that seeks to bring the voices of incarcerated men and women into American journalism, to both cultivate journalism voices behind bars and also facilitate their connection with mainstream journalism. In terms of incarceration, America has been decarcerating for a little more than 10 years, so the trend is downwards. That being said, that even the least incarcerated state in America, which is Massachusetts, is more incarcerated than the vast majority of countries in the world. By American standards, is going well, is going better. By international standards, is awful. Immigration is not going well. No serious movement has been happening there for decades. And that is an absolute crisis, I think. There's not even the small signs of hope that incarceration shows. The issue, of how we regulate crime is very, very much discussed in our society. Sometimes we obsess over it. And yet, the voices of people who are incarcerated for crime are very rarely heard. They're not considered to be worthy of being heard. Now I'm still gearing back up. But some of my colleagues, Laura Cholkovsky from Women, Gender and Sexuality, UMass, has been back in prisons and jails around Western Mass for a while now, and she's doing amazing work there. And there's a network at UMass, the Prison Education Initiative that I'm part of professors who have interest in the question of incarceration and teaching about it. So we're hoping to get that off the ground and doing more things in the classroom and in the jails.
This year, Professor Sibi was awarded the Outstanding Teacher Award for the College of Behavioral and Social Sciences at UMass. He writes a monthly column in the Daily Hampshire Gazette and will be teaching journalism ethics this spring. I'm Celine Bonafini, Amherst Media, Amherst.
While activism on campus makes its way to print, other social justice efforts are being highlighted through art. Corinne Arel takes us to the New Africa House at UMass to uncover the meanings behind a quilt exhibit.
The The social justice collaboration quilt project Stitching Time is on display at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Located at the Augusta Savage Gallery, the exhibition shares the quilt work of the incarcerated men from the Louisiana State Penitentiary from 1997. The project shares awareness of the United States history of social injustice. Alexia Coda, Associate Director of the Augusta Savage Gallery, shares the importance of this exhibit.
The project was founded in 2012 by outside quilter Maureen Kelleher and inside quilter Kenya. Kenya is currently incarcerated at Angola Prison, Louisiana State Penitentiary, and they became friends. She was a private investigator. She did a lot of work within Angola, and they became friends, and they both realized that they quilted. And they decided that it would be fun to create quilts collaboratively together with other quilters that are on the inside, other people that are incarcerated in Angola that do quilt. In 2012, the gallery had an exhibition here called Grace Before Dying, and it was a photography exhibition by Lori Wasselchuk. She was a photojournalist, and we had an exhibition here at the gallery with Lori went into Angola and she took pictures of the hospice program there. And when we had that exhibit, we heard that there was quilting being done, that they were selling quilts to raise money. We had heard about all of that. And Maureen Kelleher, the co-founder and director of this project, through a Google search, found the gallery, knew that we had that exhibition, contacted me, this was a couple years ago, contacted me, and when we met, I immediately said, yes, we have to have this here, because it's a nice full circle situation between those photographs and now having quilts from, some of these men that I knew were quilting, but I hadn't seen their quilts in person. The connections that this exhibition has to this area, to this building, are incredible. There's a number of quilts here that either have images of James Baldwin or quotes from James Baldwin, and he taught here at UMass. He was in this building in the early 80s. We have quilts with musicians. One of them's called Charles Neville. There's lots of connections in this space right now that really sort of make this project so beautiful and satisfying to have in the space. How else are you going to hear these stories? The system, the justice system, is really fashioned to take the voices away, to put people away, so that we don't hear from them. We don't know what's going on with them. So there's so much around that structure that to have these quilts on the outside, to see these beautiful pieces of artwork on the outside, and in addition to that, to having their voices on the outside talking about the quilts or why they made this decision or why they made that decision. Just like any of their artists, they're given the opportunity to talk about their work and to hear what they have to say, whereas there wouldn't be a lot of opportunity to do that. The project really is so many messages. There's so much information, storytelling, celebration, giving honor to different people. So there's quite a bit, but if I was to sum it up into one really big message, it is that there are people on the inside that have a story to tell. They have incredible artistic talent. They want to communicate and want to be remembered, and this project does a really tremendous job of doing that.
Stitching Time is on display at UMass Amherst until December 9th. I'm Corinne Rowe, Amherst Media, Amherst.
Last week, a student being detained for jaywalking and allegedly assaulting a UMass police officer made headlines, as well as spurring a campus-wide email from Chancellor Subaswamy. Field correspondent Ariana Gonzalez is at the site of the incident to gather reactions from students.
A student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst was detained on Lot 39 this past Tuesday, November 1st. The student has been identified as Antio Rosa. Eyewitnesses told the Daily Collegian that the student was pressed against the car and physically taken by UMPD police officers. Students were shaken up by the fact that the student was a person of color.
I think that most of them are probably trying to do their best to obviously do their job in a way that's beneficial to the community. However, I think that there's some deviations in their protocol at times, depending on the certain demographic that might be a part of a situation. That might be a conflicting opinion. Some might disagree, but from anecdotal experience, I had a friend who was assaulted actually here, and when he went to report the incident, UMPD actually served him with a 24-month no trespass when he was the one who was assaulted, which I found was very interesting because he came to them seeking refuge, seeking help, and in turn he was cast away by the department. So when I hear stories like that, and I hear stories sort of like the one that you're describing about jaywalking, which everybody jaywalks. I've seen a lot of people jaywalking in front of UMPD, and they haven't gotten in trouble. I think it's just a bit curious, a little interesting.
Well, I definitely feel like jaywalking, wasn't it during like the construction and stuff?
Yes.
I feel like that's kind of stupid, no offense, but personally, I think I did a little bit of jaywalking that day. It's how you get around.
Well, I mean, I do understand that police, they do have to do their job, and, we have to follow the law as students, but jaywalking and a lot, I mean, I see people like jaywalk every day, everywhere. Like, I mean, I see people walk from Worcester Dining Commons to the Integrated Sciences building, like just across that street instead of using the crosswalk. So, I mean, I don't see it as a big deal personally, but I do understand that it's the law.
Well, thinking back to the whole thing around the Theta Chi situation, it doesn't make me feel super protected, especially as a woman, but, I haven't really gotten into anything, so, but personally, I don't know if I feel totally safe about it, so.
I'm Ariana Gonzalez, Amherst Media, Amherst.
Residents of Amherst are contributing to the town's rich history through their own activism in sharing and exhibiting photos, records, and tablets as it applies to its oldest African-American families. Town Councilor Anika Lopes and her mother, Deborah Bridges, have worked to showcase their long-standing family heritage within Amherst through their foundation's ancestral bridges.
Back in 1999, my father, Dudley Bridges, wanted these tablets on display and wondered where they were, and finding out where they were, he created a fund to get them on display, to have them cleaned, to have them, to pick a place where they could be on display. But he found out where they were, had them cleaned, and this was 1999. So he was raising funds to have that done. He passed away in 2004, and they were crated up and put in storage. So when we came back, we moved back here, my daughter and I, Anika, we moved back 2019, and we wanted to continue. So we got together, wrote letters, found out where they were, and had the town look for them, find them. We had a committee of the Civil War Tablet Committee to find out where they were, and found out, and from there we got them in here through the senior center, the director, got them in here because this place had closed down, and this is where I started curating and putting pictures up starting June 2021, just before they made it a federal holiday on June 17th, which coincidentally was my father's birthday. For them to make it a federal holiday on his birthday, that just sunk in my heart. That's just like had to be. It was just meant to be.
Coming back here to Amherst was, the plan was still surreal, and it was different than growing up. This was my first time knowing Amherst without my grandfather here, without family. My grandfather, Dudley Bridges, was really my father figure, him and my great-grandfather, Gil Roberts. So coming back and being shut down within the pandemic, it was, I was reconnecting with my history and with spaces and places, and looking up my grandfather and finding out that this was a project that I remember him talking about and there being movement on, and my cousin William Harris and other Batemans and Brooks were also involved with helping him. And just to find out that project had been stagnant, I was just thinking, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have the majority of the opportunities that I have without him. And this, at least I can do, is bring his efforts forward. This is what he wanted, this is what he's going to get. And so, we, really just started reaching out to get them out. But I thought what really, spoke to me and motivated me was also his passion, and that they were not only just honoring veterans, but they were really one of the only markers in Amherst that really tells the complete Amherst history as is, and being inclusive of the Black community and the Indigenous community that formed this community, that are at its roots and the roots of Black history. When you think about, this is really all it is, and I'm not saying it to diminish the importance of these tablets, but the fact that this is really it that we have that is inclusive of Amherst history, of the true Amherst history. That's what blows my mind, and it connects us to our global community today. It really, if you think about it, these people all over the world, and there's others that come in. So it's not just about us in the past, but think about coming in, a new college student, young students. There's really no reflection of kind of the global atmosphere that I think you feel in a lot of other college towns, where you have people from all over the place.
Hopefully, they will have a permanent place that is where people can come and see, a gallery type, and where it can be curated like this, and videos for tours. And just keep it going like this. I add pictures on every month. I find something new when I research, and add on something new all the time. You keep finding things all the time when you think, oh, okay, and then something pops up. I didn't know that. And, research about it, put it on there. And as far as Ancestral Bridges, it's, as Anika said, to keep it moving and keep the youth. And so people like Black youth or Indigenous youth that are graduating from college may want to stay here. They may want to open up a business here. And it would be great for them to know that they can stay here and it can keep going. There are things for them to stay.
Finishing up with sports, the Minutemen football lost their rivalry matchup against the UConn Huskies 27-10, as UConn's run game was unstoppable, collecting 3 touchdowns against a hapless UMass defense. Their next matchup will be on the road against Arkansas State this Saturday at 3 o'clock. Amherst College, on the other hand, had a great senior day, improving to 2-6 on the year following a 17-14 victory over Bowdoin. Mike Piazza stole the game for Amherst with 11 minutes remaining on the clock, tossing an 8-yard touchdown to Owen Gatos in the last score of the game. The Mammoths will finish their season this Saturday at noon against Williams College in the historic 136th biggest little game in America. UMass basketball opened its season earlier this week as Central Connecticut came to town for both the men's and women's teams. The Minutemen blew the gates off of their season early with a statement 94-67 victory in Frank Martin's coaching debut for the Maroon and White. The win was the definition of a team effort, as 6 separate players scored in double digits, led by TJ Weeks Jr. with 16 and including 2 freshmen, RJ Lewis and Kean Thompson, who scored 14 and 10 respectively in their collegiate debuts. The Minutemen's next opportunity to prove that they're on the same level as the Minutewomen under Frank Martin will be tonight against Towson at 7 p.m. Speaking of, the Minutewomen opened their season with a similarly dominant showing, winning 72-57. After winning the A-10 championship last season, Sam Breen and co. came back still hot on their feet, as Breen tied her career-high 31 points in the victory, far and away leading the team in that regard. Sydney Taylor only dropped 9, but she tied her career high in assists as well, with 7, showing that even when she's not scoring, she can still facilitate at a high level. The game was actually a dead tie entering the second half, but UMass came out of the locker room swinging, outscoring Central Connecticut 44-29 to close out the night. Their next opponent will be on the road against Tennessee tonight at 6:30. Finally, we have UMass hockey, who extended their uncharacteristic losing streak to 3 games this weekend following back-to-back losses to Providence College. Their most recent game took place in the Mullen Center and reached overtime, as UMass lost 4-3. While the first period tied at 1 point apiece, the Minutemen and Friars exchanged dominant periods thereafter, each scoring 2 unanswered in one of the final 2 periods. Shots on goal ended up being the deciding factor here, as UMass was outdueled 34-22 on the evening. Their next chance for redemption will be this Friday against Boston University at 7 p.m. in the Mullen Center. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Amherst Weekly Report. I'm Tyler Beraldi, and we'll see you at the same time next week.